Hey, welcome to another edition of Avidgolfer Magazine's Drive Time feature. Now, there's no shortage of SUVs and crossovers in the market. They have almost every niche covered. Mercedes-Benz found another one, and I think you'll really like it. It's the 2021 Mercedes-Benz GLB AMG 35. I want to thank the people over at Park Place Motorcars and Mercedes-Benz of Plano for the experience. This is a car that might perk at your interest because it's got some performance, it's got some interesting looks, which I really like, and some luxury appointments at a price range that I think might be attractive to you. So let's give this a good long look. All right, let's talk about the exterior of this GLB AMG 35. It's got a lot of cool appointments to it that separates it from the general mundane SUV. It's got a lot of sports fascia to it, some nice trim. So let's get to this first right away. This is a signature, it's called a Panoramic grille. This is an ode back to the 62 Mercedes sports cars. Every AMG model has something like this. I think it looks really cool, makes it distinctive. This is called Mountain Gray Metallic, and in the sun it really looks awesome. This is a lighted logo. If that's your bit, you can get that as well. It's optional. So you see some nice fascia down here. This stuff is all blacked out. These are not functional, but they look pretty good. But you do have some side air vents in there for aerodynamics. A little bit of a spoiler down here, what they would call a diffuser. I like the headlights. I will say this, Mercedes-Benz did a really good job on headlights. They try to make it distinctive. Another German manufacturer way back in the day was the first ones to come out with it, and everybody else has kind of run with that. But Mercedes seems to come out with some ones that are really kind of cool, and I like that. The hood itself has some nice distinctive feature lines here. You can actually see them from the driver's side. So it gives you a little bit of an idea where you're going. You can also get, if you want to get the Mercedes emblem, the star, you can get that as well. I kind of like them because I can see where the end of my hood is. So when you're parking, it's good stuff. All right, that's the front. All right, this is the power plant. It's an AMG power plant, but it's not a true AMG. So don't get confused here. A true AMG is hand-built engines. This is what I call an AMG Light. It has some sporty performance to it, but it's not a true AMG. That's okay, most people don't care. And you don't have to pay for it either. This is an inline 4-turbo, a 2.0 liter, 302 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. Really responsive. I love the gears in this thing because it goes as fast as you want. If you put it in Sport, Sport Plus, it feels like a race car. I mean, and comparatively, it's really good. So this is the interior of this. You can kind of see, it's hard to really see. They got the AMG on there and they got a little red racing stripe on that, but there you go, that's the engine. All right, let's talk about the exterior on the side because that's one of my favorite angles to look at a car. First of all, you have, these are optional, 21-inch multi-spoke rims. They start off at 19, 20s look pretty good, 21s look the best, and when we go through the test drive, you'll see this suspension soaks up a lot of the bumps. So normally a 21-inch rubber doesn't give you enough cushion here, but I hardly felt anything from these crappy roads here in Dallas, so good job. All right, so again, you should have more sports fascia here. It looks a little bit different, obviously, if it's in white, meaning the color of the car, but I like the way it all looks. Okay, so this is what I would consider a very retro boxy look to it. It's almost like the old Woodies back in the day, you know, when they put surfboards on it, because I'm from Southern California. But I like it because it's boxy, but it's sporty, it's unique. And again, it's like a baby G-Wagon. So instead of spending $6 fig on a car or an SUV, this was starts off at 38. This one starts off the AMG version, 49,000. So gives you some nice bang for the buck, and it's unique enough. Has very pronounced roof rails up here, but I think they meld in nicely. And yeah, I just think it looks really good, and especially you have the panoramic roof up here, and when you take it to the back, it's a nice, clean layout all the way around. All right, let's take a peek at the rear. I think it's nice and tidy. Everything kind of fits the way it should. One thing I would recommend, so this is an AMG model or an AMG model light. Usually that has a quad exhaust. This has dual exhaust. If you buy the night package, the AMG night package, it will give you quad exhaust. If that floats your boat, which does mine, then you should probably get it. But again, has the racing diffuser down here. That's really kind of cool. And then if you open up this pup, you'll see how much storage this has. Since it's so high and pretty boxy, so it doesn't have those slope roofs like so many other SUVs, you can fit a lot more stuff in here. It's very utility minded, which I love. All right, this is an SUV. It's actually a 3-rower. I wouldn't recommend it because the 3rd row is going to be extremely small for legroom, but the 2nd row is magical. I'm about 5'10". I can almost get my feet out the entire way based upon my driving position in the front seat because, again, with this squarish silhouette, look how much room I have. I mean, that's really good. And here's the beauty. So you got this little strap right here. I'm going to show this to you. Can't see it. It's hard to see in the dark. Let me do that. See this little strap right here? See that? So I can pull this. I got reclining back seats. How about that? That's a cool move. That's a cool move, Mercedes-Benz. I like it a lot. So, and these do fold down, gives you a lot, about 62 cubic feet of cargo space, which is just about best in its class. It's really good. Got a couple air vents back here that are nice. You have some more cubby holes and more contrasting stitching with the red. I like that. And that's about it. The bottom line here, back seat, you can live here all day. And it's kind of like the theatrical seating. I'm a little bit higher than the front row, so I can kind of see over them a little bit. I don't feel like I'm being stuck in a cave. So Mercedes-Benz did a heck of a job on the design of definitely the back seat of the GLB. All right, we've checked out the exterior, check out the storage, leg room. After this, we'll do the drive test. But let's talk about the interior, because when it comes to high-end cars like Mercedes, especially SUVs, you want some luxury appointments. You want to drive in the lap of luxury and comfort, but with the AMG version, still have a little bit of spirit to it. So let's start off with the steering wheel, because this is the part that's connected between that and the seat. This is the part the driver touches the most. It's a squared off AMG racing steering wheel. And I like it because you can get 2 versions. This is what they call Alcantara leather. Some people, I like the more textured variety. They have that as well, give you more grip when you're driving. All your controls are right here for most of the stuff. This is a little trackpad here. So if I hit, like, say, this button, this is for this, I can go ahead and change. I can go ahead and change what I want in the middle. If I move it over to the left, I can change the speedometer to a clock or fuel economy, and the same thing on the right. So I won't get redundant on that. So that it's very programmable. It's a 10.25 inch digital display right next to a 10.25 inch touch-tone digital display. So you can really make this any way you want it. Have a lot of redundancy controls on this. What you can do on here, you can also do here on a trackpad. You can also do here on your touch screen. So whatever floats your boat, doesn't really matter. Again, I like these air vents because they're nice, big, and very useful. I mean, they blow out some hot and cold air very quickly. This has the 12-speaker, 590-watt Burmester upgradable sound system. Very clear. Bluetooth works excellent. If I want to hook up my phone to any variety of media streaming, it's flawless. It's just incredible. I would probably get the head-up display on this, just because I like everything in my windshield. It costs about $1,100, but it also not only tells you how fast you're going, it tells you how fast over the speed limit you're going, wink, wink, and when you have navigation going, it'll show that on the screen too. Anything to keep your peepers on the road and not down here mudding around in a bunch of pretty displays. I think that's a good thing. The seats themselves, Dynamica leather. It's kind of a suede-ish type leather. It's not your typical perforated leather. It has contrasting stitching on it. I think it's very comfortable. It's cooler in the summer and probably a little bit warmer in the winter, even though you have heated and cooled seats or ventilated seats. I like that look. Down here is more storage. You can get a wireless charger down here. Costs about $200. And then you also have your parking control here. I can get a 360 view on what's going on there. And go down here, back, side. Tells you how much room I have on the side when I open up the doors. So, very useful. When you're driving an SUV, and even though the visibility is excellent, a lot of big windows because of the squarish design, boxy design, a lot of times you don't know where your hood ends. And so to have that 360 view is, I think it's genius. Also you have ambient lighting. If you can see down here, it's kind of tough in the daytime. 64 different gradients of lighting to your liking, and these light up too. So it's kind of like a little nightclub effect. You can make it as ostentatious or as subtle as you want, but that's okay. As far as most of your controls, you have the air conditioning, your auto, and you can sync your air, you can sync your temperatures both ways. This is the carbon fiber trim. It's very popular in today's cars because it's kind of neutral but kind of sporty at the same time. It's not just a throwaway piece of plastic or fake wood. The pretty good storage down there. Really good deep storage right here. You have your USB ports if you like those. A lot of space in the corner in your doors for big gulps and whatever too right here as well. One thing I didn't notice, there's really no cover that slides down if you want to hide everything. Not a big deal. And the other thing I would stress for you to pay attention to when you're test driving this car is the seat position is probably good for 95% of people. But I would like it if they offered you a little bit lower one too. I feel like I'm really kind of riding high, but I kind of got used to it after a while too. It has a tilt up and down, back and forth, adjustable steering wheel. I think that's real important. And 3 memory controls for your seats. So if you switch cars out a lot of times, and once you get this thing meticulously down to the way you want it, you can just hit memory 1, memory 2, memory 3. It will lock those in for you, so you don't have to futz around with it later when the better half gets in there and she's like 5'2" or whatever. As far as some of the infotainment is concerned, well, let's go to the drive part first. So I have an option here. It gives you 5 different modes. So I have slippery, that's for ice, that's all-wheel drive. Individual, I can program it to be any way I want. Comfort is pretty simple. It's a moderate engine and comfort suspension, or you can go sport or sport plus. This can either be done manually with your paddle shifters, or you can have it in regular drive. Again, gives you a lot of options. I kind of like it. You can also change the suspension settings on this button. You can do that as well. The nav works excellent. I just find it an incredibly comfortable car, but when you want to lean on it a little bit, even though you think it has a very high center of gravity, it takes the corners really well. Very nimble. And again, these horrible roads here in Dallas, you don't get jarred even in Sport Plus mode and 21-inch rims. But all in all, I think this is a winner. For the price range and everything, did a heck of a job. So let's give this thing a test drive. The AMG 35, and it's the GLB model. I want to thank Park Place Motorcars and Mercedes-Benz of Plano for the experience. Now, this isn't a true AMG car. It is a rocket comparatively to other hot hatches or small SUVs. But what I like about it doesn't have a hand-built engine, but it gives you as much power. I'm amazed how much boost there is in this car. And you can actually tweak the suspension in it to be as stiff or as comfortable as you want. It also has modes. You have slippery, you have comfort, you have sport, and you have sport plus. and they all work fine. You can even make the engine very responsive in Sport Plus, and you can make the suspension in Comfort. So it gives you a lot of options. I'm all about options. Give me some options. So if I torque this thing, it's all-wheel drive, pretty fast, got a little grunt to it. For a 4-cylinder, not too shabby. The seating position is really nice. I would personally like an option, not an option, but they have the availability, having it a little bit lower. Rides a little high for me, but that's just my taste. I just wish it had a little more up and down. The steering wheel tilts and everything. It's got an AMG square bottom steering wheel, which is very sporty. It's got a lot of controls on it, and if you drive a Mercedes, you'll be familiar with all of them. I'm amazed how well it soaks up the crummy roads here in Dallas. I mean, it barely feels like a blip. And this is with 21-inch wheels. So you would think with 21-inch rubber, it wouldn't be as adaptable on crappy roads, but this is pretty darn sweet. And since it is squarish in body style, there's a lot of visibility. Very few blind spots in this thing, and I like that as well. You can get the steering wheel in Alcantara leather. You can get it in this textured leather as well for better grip. It just depends on what you want. Heated steering wheel. One thing I would add to this model, and you can for $1,100, I would get the head-up display. I like everything in front of me. I don't like to be diving down in a bunch of displays and everything. I want just something that's going to tell me how fast I'm going over the speed limit, and if I want nav on there, it shows it up on the screen. I like that a lot. The vents are awesome. They're like these circular turbine vents that blow out a lot of cooler or warm air if you want it. Seats are heated and ventilated. The interior trim, and we'll get to, as you saw in the interior shots, this is the carbon fiber trim. I like it. It's nice and tasteful. You have contrasting stitching here. Gives a little more of a racier look. You have a panoramic roof up here. Lets in a lot of light. It can be optioned as a 3-rower. I wouldn't do it. The 3rd row would be just for little kids, tops. But I would use that extra area for storage. I mean, you can get up to 62 cubic feet of storage if you have both seats down, and I think that's pretty. And since it's so tall, again, squarish, you have a lot of room to pack really whatever you want in it. A lot of good knickknacks in here. But the thing I like the most, and I'm going to put this thing in Sport Plus. All I'm going to do is scroll down here, put in Sport Plus, and gun it. It's got a little growl to it. Hear that? Not too shabby. The brakes are excellent. This doesn't drive like an SUV. It drives kind of like a hot hatchback that has a lot more nimbleness to it. Even though you would think it has a higher center of gravity, not too shabby. I'm smitten. Mercedes done a good job. They have the A-Class, they have the GLC, they have the GLE, they have the GLS. So they figured, well, we don't have a GLB yet. Let's use the B as the last letter, and fits right. I guess one day they'll have a GLD at some point. I'm not sure when, but here's the deal about all these SUVs and crossovers. They are so segmented, so niche in your availability, that if you can't find an SUV to suit your tastes, you just don't want an SUV. I'm not a huge SUV fan, and I personally am digging this car. I like the retro boxy look to it. It doesn't look fuddy-duddy. It actually looks real sporty, and you get the AMG night package that brings up a little more of the sport fascia. As I just did there, the paddle shifters are very responsive. It also tells you when you need to shift. So if you're a little worried about that, right now it's telling me to shift in 5th gear. I can, but if I want to redline it, you can do that too. Oh boy, that sounds good. That really is something. The seats are supportive. They have lumbar supporting visibility is awesome. So this will tap out at about 155 miles an hour. That's with a predetermined governor on that. But, you know, for a 2.0 liter inline 4 engine, I mean, I'm usually kind of an inline 6 guy. This 4 has got me smitten. It gets 21 on the in the city, gets 23 on the highway. Actually, 26 on the highway. You could probably squeeze that a little more if you needed to. Yeah, this thing's money. I like it a lot. Yeah. This has this MB-Tex Diamanga, I think it is, Diamanga, something like that. Leather. It's kind of like a suede-ish type leather. If you don't want the typical leather, this one will work out really nice for you. Rear view camera, you have nice visibility, especially if you put down the rear seat. You've got all the room and visibility you want. You can close these off if you need to, if it's too hot. As you know, everything is programmable now. This has two 10.25 displays that are touchscreen. The instrumentation, you do it all by the wheels and the track pads on the steering wheel. On the infotainment side, you can either do it through a trackpad here, do it with a touchscreen here. There's a lot to like. A lot of ambient lighting, 64 choices on ambient lighting. We likey. A lot of storage room for knickknacks and drinks and the like. And I am, it's good stuff, Mercedes. You know, you didn't think there could be another niche product that would fit a bill. Think of this GLB, since it's squatty and squarish. Think of it as a mini G-Wagon. It costs a lot less. The G-Wagons are easily 6 figures. This starts off at 38 if you want the base version. It's 49 if you want the AMG version. I would get that, but I'm more of a sports car fan. So for that amount of money, I'd take it because you get a lot of other benefits to that as well. Man, it's good stuff. I need to get this one back. I like it. I like it a lot. Again, thanks to Park Place Motorcars and Mercedes-Benz Plano for the experience. So you can read about it in Avidgolfer magazine. You can also check out our YouTube page, Avidgolfer, and subscribe. And every time we come out with a new video, you can read it, you can watch it, and I think you will like it, as I have. So there you go. The 2021 brand new Mercedes-Benz GLB AMG 35, ready to be in your garage at your earliest convenience. So there you have it, folks. Another drive time feature in the books. This is the Mercedes-Benz 2021 GLB AMG 35. Well, again, I want to thank people over at Park Place Motorcars and Mercedes-Benz of Plano for the experience. This car starts off at $49,000 if you're getting the AMG version. It's $38,000 if you get the base version. That's called the 250. This one's appointed at about 61. If I put some extra stuff on here that I personally like, it might be in the mid-60s, high 60s. But either way, it's unique enough, even in the SUV category, that you will stand away from the crowd. So if you get a chance, give it a look yourself and take it for a test drive. I think you'll enjoy it as much as I did.